This is Pleshey Castle in Essex. It was built, I believe, by Geoffrey de Manderville. It is a massive motte and bailey castle. I'm standing up on one of the ramparts. You can see how deep the ditch is down there. Although I see water over there. It's a bit dry at the moment, perhaps that's because of the weather, but as you can see, it's got a massive view all around. It has a brick bridge built across the moat of the motte. It's possibly one of the oldest brick structures in Europe, according to the blurb. It's owned by a very nice man called Alexander. You have to make an appointment to come and visit. It's very, very overgrown. They do try and keep it cut back, but obviously English heritage don't do much to help, apparently. I think they very good organisation for looking after the great big fancy looking places, but when it comes to things like this, I don't think they're as interested. Very nice country houses in this village. You can definitely see the scale of the earthworks into the moat down there on the edge of the bailey. Fantastic views. Village of Pleshey is just in front of us here. You can see the rabbits. These things are fantastic in size and scale and everything, but unfortunately they suffer from the ravages of wildlife and the sort of plant life. I mean, this one is lucky to be sort of fairly well looked after. I wonder how far down here you can go. Looks quite interesting. Don't think we'll bother though, because I think that goes all the way down into the moat, and that looks quite steep and slippery just there. I wonder whether that's just people walking up and down, or whether that was actually some sort of a extra gateway. You can see the motte there. That is quite massive, quite impressive. Obviously very, very overgrown. Obviously a very, very wet moat there, look. Thought that was somebody lying on a trampoline, but it's not. I think it's a some sort of a mannequin. I don't think you'd be able to go too far down there or through here, but that is a very, very... And if that was actually built at the time, you can see by the size of the bricks, they're very sort of... they're nothing like today's modern bricks. If that's as old as they believe, middle of the 1300s, that would be quite an impressive brick structure. We could try the climbing up the motte there, but I don't think we'll bother. There's some more brick there, look, or something. In fact, that looks like possibly Roman tiles, because they're very, very thin. with a bit of flint in it. That could be one of the oldest parts of the castle. There's the entrance to Pleshey Castle there. Round the motte. Down to the bridge. Slightly unusual metalwork on the bridge there. Not 100% sure what that is. Might get a better look in a minute. I think I've picked a fantastic day to come here, because the rest of the week is forecast for rain. And we're lucky we have very little aircraft noise as well, because this is just by Stansted Airport. Although with Thomas Cook collapsing today, you won't get many people travelling out, unfortunately for them. As you can see, the entrance to the motte, which I believe is the original place, is right opposite the main gate, which you can only assume is the main gate. It's about the right place for a classic Motte and Bailey castle. The gentleman who owns the castle has tried to get English Heritage to take it over. Apparently they want a large sum of money to do so. I think they would definitely have something built on here. And there's that metalwork. They would want railings built, I think. I don't think they would allow people to come this close to the edge there. Certainly not climb and walk along it like I am. I don't think this surface of the bridge is original. Don't think the the Normans had tarmac or these flagstone steps. See the Bailey from up here. Don't think this possible warning beacon is original. But you can certainly see, obviously not with all the undergrowth on it, but you can certainly see quite some distance away. You would have quite a good view if all this undergrowth was chopped back. Kind of spoils the view from down there. That you can see that's quite steep down there from what, well, I certainly can see it. Pity more people don't know about this sort of places. Coming up more often, it might get a little bit more love and attention. It certainly gives you a view down the motte there from what you can see. Possible manor house there to replace it. Looking into the outer bailey again. I believe the village does have an outer wall. We might see if we can have a look at that. So this is obviously Pleshey Castle. Well worth a visit if this is your thing. And if you're willing to make an appointment to get here, or if you can get anywhere near it, get here at a certain time, etc. It's probably closed during the winter, I think. Certainly some winter months. Would have been very, very impressive in its day. It does have a massive outer bailey, leading to that even bigger motte. But you can't really walk around the whole exterior. Close the gate. No doubt you'll come back and close that later. You can see the scale of the outer ditch there. That would have been quite an imposing thing to get across. Well, obviously very overgrown this side, but again, very difficult to get across. I think on the other side of the road there looks like there might be a ditch. That might be part of the old town defence. But there you have it, Pleshey Castle. This is the back of the motte at Pleshey. As you can see, that's a very, very deep moat. This willow tree is. Would have been for defence, but as you can see, if you can just see there, if they don't see me first, there are large amounts of fish in here. That would have been something that they would have eaten. There we go, I think they've spotted me and they're off. But that is a very wet moat. Don't want to upset the ducks too much. Attacking a castle like this from this side would have been a pretty difficult thing to do. Obviously the water is very dirty now, but it may have been drinkable back in them days, but unlikely. Pleshey Castle.